Suppose I told you that someday soon, very soon, the Messiah will arrive. We will live in paradise. There won't be any need for work or school. You won't get sick. You won't age. You won't die. Eternal life will be ours. And even better, our minds will be blissfully free of uncertainty. We will have access to perfect knowledge. We won't feel tired or worried or burnt out or angry. We'll be able to spend our limitless days and months and years with the essence of the people we love. Oh, and we'll no longer be stuck on Earth either. Instead, we will all live together up in the clouds. Now, this beautiful picture I have painted for you that has you salivating comes from our sacred text, our sages' beliefs about the messianic age, the afterlife, paradise, right? No, actually no, I'm just kidding. It's this version of the world to come is actually gleaned from the discourse around artificial intelligence by the world's top researchers. You get it? Like life in the clouds? Thank you. And my friends, I would like to introduce you to the future. Or really, better said, a possible future, because though there are brilliant minds offering glimpses of what they think it might hold, we don't really know. Now, some technologists propose that our human experience, not so far from now, will include really uploading our minds to the cloud, where we can live digitally for all eternity. Now, it's very Westworld, circa 2016, not the film from the 70s. Now, they envision artificial intelligence as an endeavor that guarantees human salvation in the way I described, if it goes well, even as it spells out doom if it goes badly. But think about it. Already, this new tech is diagnosing patients with complex medical issues and creating treatment plans. It's flagging credit card fraud. It's combating human trafficking by analyzing chatter on the web. It's transformed the renewable energy sector, not to mention the overnight deliveries that magically end up on your doorstep hours after you impulse buy a combination robot vacuum that also mops your floors at 1 o'clock in the morning. Just me. Okay, well, the dream is that at some point, AI will just take over all the things that make life hard, and it will do those things for us flawlessly. We can just exist in a state of perfect peace. Now, honestly, it's not surprising that AI and religious talk feel similar. Both are a response to the core of human anxiety, our mortality. The difficulty in judging whether we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, all that gray area in between, our tendency to look up at the stars and wonder about our life's meaning, our place in the universe, and what, if anything, happens next. But it's pretty wild to think about this fresh new intersection between technology and faith. But even now, we are seeing glimpses of the deep and widespread power of AI seeping into our religious lives. Just this past year, Dutch researchers enlisted AI to analyze the handwriting on the Dead Sea Scrolls, the collection of fragments of 2,000-year-old scrolls found in caves on the northern shore of the Dead Sea. Now, they were trying to figure out if the most complete text, known as the Great Isaiah Scroll, was penned by more than one author. Now, to the naked eye, looking at this beautiful scribal ink, thousands of years old, scholars couldn't say. But AI reported that the text was indeed written by 2 different hands, an incredibly exciting discovery that opens so many doors to better understanding our history. You may also have heard about my friend, Rabbi Josh Franklin, who had ChatGPT write a sermon for him, which he delivered to his congregation in the Hamptons. He gave it a prompt: write a sermon in the voice of a rabbi, about 1,000 words, connecting the Torah portion this week with the idea of intimacy and vulnerability and, quote, Brene Brown. Now, the result, which he presented that Friday night, was a Devar Torah that many in his congregation guessed had been crafted by famous rabbis. Had he not shared what he was doing, he does not think anyone would have batted an eye. "You're clapping," Rabbi Franklin said, after revealing that the sermon he had just delivered was composed by a computer. "You're clapping. I'm terrified." Now, speaking of terror, this idea of a vague human-like intelligence created for our benefit is a Jewish one. Since the earliest days of AI research in the 1950s, this desire has been compared to the legend of the golem, a mythical creature from Jewish folklore created by powerful rabbis from mud and magic to do its master's bidding. The most famous golem is the one allegedly made in the 16th century in Prague to protect the Jewish people from anti-Semitic violence by their neighbors. Now, for centuries, this idea of an animated creature made by man and lacking a divine spark, a soul, has been part of our imagination. Rabbis have argued over whether a golem can be considered a person, if it can be counted in a minyan, if it could be killed, and how it should be treated. Now, it helps to remember that the end of the golem story is the stuff of nightmares when it comes to my AI comparison. The community loses control of this powerful entity, which ends up racing through the ghetto, ransacking the city, and destroying everything in its path, but that's for a different sermon. But from these stories and rabbinic discussions, an ethical stance on artificial intelligence emerged long before computers were even invented, writes Nachshon Goltz, a law professor who's written extensively about the Jewish perspective on AI. While we are allowed to create artificial entities to assist us in our tasks, he states, we must remember our responsibility to keep control over them and not the other way around. What was missed in my sermon, Rabbi Franklin shared, was the idea of how we find God in meaningful encounters with others, how community and relationship impacts our lives. While AI was able to write something reasonably coherent, there was no sense that it had sprung from the lived experience of a yearning, questing, suffering human being rather than an algorithm. What's missing was humanity. So in other words, there really is a clear distinction between AI, between the golem of our own creation and us. So my beloved friends, we are here. It's Kol Nidre, and we are humans here in the sanctuary tonight, simmering together in this shared human experience. We're here to look mortality in the face without blinking and consider the state of our souls. We are not perfect. Far from it. We aren't machines. Even when we try our best, sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes we screw up, we embarrass ourselves and others, we do the wrong thing. And tonight, we're expected to sit with that, to not look away. And the more I think about what it means to be human, the more I believe that this is why we have the heroes we have, why we look up to our ancestors, why they have staying power this many millennia later. I mean, think about it. You have Abraham, who made questionable choices regarding the health and safety of his beloved son. Rebecca, who tricked her husband, blind and reliant, into blessing her favorite child. Moses, who in his anger shattered that first set of God-given tablets. They were human, they were people, and we are human too, and they messed up, and so did we. And it's not just an ancient thing either. There are limitless examples of role models from today, people who are just imperfect, complicated people doing the best they can and inspiring others along the way. Take the little boy with behavioral issues, for instance, who constantly acted out and had a terrible time communicating. Albert Einstein went on to develop the theory of relativity, winning a Nobel Prize in physics. Or Simone Biles, a young woman who, at the height of her career, in the middle of the 2020 Summer Olympics, walked away to protect her physical and mental health. Or the great and venerated founder of our movement here in America, Rabbi Isaac Mayer Wise, who was known for his epic ego and subsequent outbursts, one of which ended with a fist fight on the bima with his president on Rosh Hashanah. Now that's a really great story. Atem nitzavim hayom, we stand together tonight in our beautiful brokenness, all of us. Our heroes, our role models, our neighbors, our parents, our children, this is who we are. And it's what makes life feel authentic and real and true. There is a reason that so many wedding couples keep their shards of glass, to remind them that nothing's perfect, but that holiness can be found in that sacred imperfection. And God, what a gift to be together here, seeing ourselves for who we are, messy and complicated, human to the nth degree, and knowing that we can start again, we can try harder, that we can renew our souls, we can rebuild our sense of selves, and we can let go of the impossibly high expectations that we had for ourselves this past year. I want to take you to a moment that you may have experienced yourself, but one that has made a home in my mind. When I take teens to Israel, fresh off the plane, exhausted and filthy and nervous and excited, one of our stops in those first couple of days is the city of David. We take them down in this ancient aqueduct system called Hezekiah's Tunnel. It was built around the 8th century, which kept this scorching desert city supplied with water in the event of an attack. We trek down this really long spiral stone staircase into the tunnel, and a shock of icy water pools around our ankles and then our knees up to our waists, and the walls are slippery and moist, and it just feels amazing, a steep contrast to the 110-degree heat on the surface. And in the tunnel, it is pitch black, like really, really dark, the kind of oppressive darkness you can almost feel. Every couple of teens carries a flashlight or wears a headlamp, and we begin walking through the water, our hands out on either side, running our fingers over the narrow walls. You can feel the indentations from the picks that dug the tunnel over 1,500 years before. And then, once we're in, the water is swirling around our legs. We spread out, each person a dozen feet apart, and we ask everybody in the tunnel to turn off their lights. And we start to sing. You can imagine we're blind, stumbling with our hands outstretched, listening for the clear voices of those who are walking the path before us. I cannot tell you how powerful it is, feeling scared but safe, knowing that this shared experience is one that will connect us forever, feeling the goosebumps on our arms and not because of the cold water. So we sing, gathering the strength to move forward from those singing before us and knowing that our own voices are carrying those who follow. And I live in this space during Yom Kippur. This is what makes us human. Fear and empathy, being in relationship with one another, feeling overwhelmed with emotion. We could learn everything there is to learn about this tunnel. Its history, its precise length. We could see pictures on Wikipedia of every nook and cranny. But there is no possible universe in which we could fabricate what it feels like to see that tiny speck of light growing brighter and brighter as we reach the end, moved and wet and glowing with pride. We are not living by some perfect algorithm that ensures we won't make mistakes or feel pain. We are all, in fact, often in the dark, each in our own tunnels, groping for one another, listening for those voices to guide us as we search for that pinpoint of light. But that's okay. We don't have to be afraid, because our humanity means that we get to hold that fear and pain, regret that comes along with it, and also transcendent joy and love, connection. It's all good because it's all us. All of these things make us who and what we are, and we are not alone. Now, of course, I asked ChatGPT to help me write a blessing for us tonight. To bring it all together, I fed it the entirety of my sermon, and this is the blessing that it wrote back for me, for you. May we always embrace the uncertainty of our human journey, seeking answers to the mysteries of existence and finding our humanity in the quest itself. I kind of love it. But I would like to add one more piece from me for us. May we, with all of our vulnerabilities and flaws, experience the most this beautiful world has to offer. And may we be comforted by the knowledge that we are all in it together. Gemar Chatima Tova, may it be for each of us a good year.